Nathan Peterman today signed with the Oakland Raiders. Now, I joked about it, and most people will, that nothing tells you a team is tanking like signing Nathan Peterman to play quarterback. Statistically, I can't think of anybody who's ever been any worse than Peterman during his few starts in the National Football League. It started in L.A. last year when he had 5 interceptions in the first half. In the first half against the Chargers. It was one of those don't come out moments. He started 2 games this year. He threw 7 picks, one touchdown. In his career, he's played in 8. He started 4. He's won 1. He's thrown 3 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. But 1, we know that John Gruden historically likes to collect quarterbacks. When he got fired in Tampa last time, he had 4. 2, he's buying on the cheap. This is a penny stock. This is a penny stock. Like, you're talking minimum money, and he's a guy who evaluated him. Now, that doesn't mean that he'll ever be good. He'll ever be a starting quarterback. But if he could be a viable backup quarterback, or maybe a spot starter, as the Raiders work through trying to find a cheap option at quarterback if they get rid of Derek Carr, or even if they keep him, buying a penny stock in Week 17 of the season is not a crazy idea. Who's the biggest bust in the NBA in the last 25 years? There's a lot of different options, but Darko's name comes up. A lot of people go like, Darko Milicic, right? Darko Milicic. Now, I will tell you, and this is my honest opinion, my evaluation of Darko was, would I have taken, D-Wade, or would I have taken Chris Bosh probably ahead of him? Yes. It was my first year doing the NBA draft. I just got done playing in France. I played in Russia. I actually played against Darko when I was in Israel a year before. He was 17 years old. And though I would not have taken him 2, he would have been a top 5 draft pick. He was left-handed. He was the youngest player in the draft. I think he was 18 years old. And he was what would be a modern-day big guy. Could dribble, pass, and shoot. But he went to the wrong team. He went to a team that had, one, it was in Detroit. He went to Detroit when they were really, really, really good. He went to Larry Brown, who not only didn't speak the language, doesn't like young players. And it was at a time where most European bigs were seen as soft, even if Yugoslavian players aren't soft. He personally wasn't ready, and that emotionally I couldn't have known. I played against him as a professional, and I thought, and he kicked me, a 25-year-old Mate Milicia who played Long Beach State, and he did a really good job against Mate. Darko at 21 years old with the Orlando Magic actually averaged 8 a game. That was the best. That, and at 25 in Minnesota, he averaged 9 a game. Now, does that mean he should have been a number 2 overall pick? No. But it does admit this, that the possibility, you can screw up a kid, obviously, with how you raise him. Many of you are dealing with this with your significant other. Like, my wife thinks that my lifestyle is just so different from hers. She's like, you have our son playing sports every day of the week. We're like, yeah, that's what I did. Like, well, I didn't, but also she went to school in a small town. She grew up a mile and a half from her school, and they had sports in school. They had all the different sports. You don't have that in California. You have to do club sports or some sort of youth sports. And everybody drives everywhere. You don't ride your bike, somewhere, because we all think our kid's going to get kidnapped, even if we live in a great neighborhood. It's just different how we brought up. So you can screw a kid up with how what would you do? 2, 3, 4, right? How many have you ever rescued an animal? Where you have to, it takes sometimes months or years to work through the trauma. And that's what Darko went through. I don't know whether he would have been good enough. The thing of that brings me to Peterman. John Gruden famously really liked Nathan Peterman. So too, by the way, to the Buffalo Bills. Don't believe me? Last year, in the middle of a playoff run, they started him instead of Tyrod Taylor. or it's Tyrod Taylor, right? We didn't find that out till this year in Hard Knocks. That was actually one of the more telling things. That and Todd Haley hated Hugh Jackson. Hugh Jackson hated Todd Haley. Those are the two biggest things in Hard Knocks this year. The point is that whether he's rescuing a pound puppy, whether he's trying to fix Darko Milicic, or whether he's just, shopping at Nordstrom Rack. Man, 2 years ago, that was really in. Now, it's at Nordstrom Rack for only $15. It used to be $150. Whatever it is, you know what? Let's see what Gruden can do with it. Because Gruden evaluated him as a starting quarterback in the National Football League. A lot of people thought Nathan Peterman can really play. Nathan Peterman played at Pitt. He was a good player. Do you remember the last time Clemson lost? Anybody? The last time Clemson lost with Deshaun Watson as their quarterback. You guys remember when that was? That was when Nathan Peterman was their quarterback for Pittsburgh in Death Valley. That happened. So again, I can make jokes about it. Everybody can make jokes about it. Like nothing says you're part of Tank Club like signing Nathan Peterman. Like, that is a surefire way of trying to lose. It's like the Dallas Mavericks last year. When you look at, you're like, who are these guys playing in the fourth quarter? The Memphis Grizzlies did this last year. Like Marc Gasol, anytime he play well, like he's out in the fourth quarter. We can't play him because we want to lose. Playing Nathan Peterman may be cementing the, hey man, we got to lose these last two games. This competitive stuff is for the birds. Or maybe he's trying to rescue a pound puppy.